Good morning, it's Rebecca from Rebecca Inc. Today we are going to draw this adorable pig. What you need is a pencil, a marker, an eraser and a piece of paper, and that is it. Alright, so I'm going to move my guide and we are going to start with your pencil. I'm going to use a marker so that you can see better, but you are going to use a pencil. We are going to start in the left-hand side of the page with an oval for the head of our pig. So you're going to get your arm going from your shoulder and draw an oval that's about this big. I am going around and around and around and around to arrive at a really nice oval shape. At this point, we are being nice and loose. We're touching our pencils nice and lightly to our paper. Below that oval, let's draw another oval just slightly fatter than that one. Get your arm going from your shoulder and draw another oval just slightly bigger, slightly fatter than that one. You're doing good. All right, up at the top, let's add in some ears. On the left-hand side, we're going to add an ear right about here. I'm planting my elbow and moving my forearm around and around, and when I get that good circle going, I'm setting my pencil down and drawing a circle. On top of that circle, let's add a triangle, just like that. And in the very tippy tip of that triangle, let's add a teeny tiny little circle, just like that. Our pig today is a baby pig, and his little ears are rounded. They are not pointy yet. Okay, next up, other side. Let's do an oval, just like that, with another triangle, just like that, and a little circle on the end. To get that oval, I'm planting my arm from my elbow, getting my forearm going in that circle, and when I've got the shape, I set my pencil down. Now for the triangle, I'm using some finer motor movements. That's hard to say in the morning. I'm planting my wrist, and I'm getting my hand going back and forth and back and forth. And for the little circle, again, I'm planting my wrist, and this time I'm using my fingers. I'm tracing around or air drawing that little circle, and when I have the shape, I set my pencil down. All right, let's add in some eyes on either side. On the left-hand side, we're going to draw a circle that lives right in between those two ovals, right there, just about that size. And on the other side, same thing, a circle right about that size, right there. Inside those circles, we're going to add more circles. Let's start on the left side. This circle is going to be smaller, and it's going to live at the very edge of our bigger circle. It's going to be right there, just like that. And you guessed it, we're going to add in those arcs that I always do over the eyes. If you followed some of these videos before, you know I added an arc for the eyelashes. So plant your wrist, and at the middle section of that circle, put your pencil down and move your wrist in the natural way that it's going to go, and you're going to get a nice arc over top. Let's do the same thing on the bottom. Plant your wrist and draw a nice little arc going the other direction underneath that. Moving over to the other side, let's draw a nice little circle. This circle is going to live right about here, so almost in the center of that larger circle. And we're going to do the same thing. Plant your wrist, draw a nice arc over the top and under the bottom, just like that. You are doing so good. I'm going to check my little video here. You can see everything. That's good. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. That can be our code. Then I will know. Okay, inside this base oval, we are going to draw our pig's snout. This is going to be made up of some ovals and some circles. So let's start with an oval. It's going to be about this big. It's going to live right about there. That's going to help us determine where the line for the mouth goes. In the middle of that oval, let's draw a circle, just like that. You're getting your whole arm going from your shoulder, and you're moving your pencil around and around and around and around. Your lines are going to look messy right now. You don't erase anything, and you don't worry about them being messy. In the end, it will all come together, and it will make sense for you, okay? So trust me. Inside this top part of this oval, let's add in a couple tilted ovals like this. There's one on that side and one on that side, just like that. And then in between those, we're going to add in a little triangle that's just slightly smaller. See that shape there? Can you guess what this is going to end up being? A little triangle at the tippy top. If you guess the nose, you are correct. Now, pigs have an adorable little nostrils on the inside of their nose. So we are going to draw that now with a little oval facing this way and a little oval facing this way. To get those little shapes, I'm planting my wrist and I'm going with my fingers this time. It's a smaller movement. I'm tracing around and around in the air, and when I get that shape and I feel comfortable, I set my pencil down and I get a nice shape there. All right, we are ready to move on to our little pig's body. We are going to add in an oval. It's going to live right about here and be about this big. If at any point while we're drawing, if I'm going too fast for you, feel free to pause me, catch up, and I will be here when you get back. Now we're going nice and loose. See how mine isn't perfect there? It's going around and around. Yours won't be perfect either, and it's not meant to be perfect. These are our guides. In the long run, we will erase all of these. Let's add in a little triangle to connect these two shapes over here. We're just going to add a little triangle right in the corner here. I'm planting my wrist, and I'm moving my pencil up and down to get that triangular shape there. It's going to be our connector. Let's go over to our pig's body. Now this little guy has a nice round belly and he is sitting down. He's kind of a baby, I think. This suggestion was brought to me by Sarah Chapman for her daughter, I'm getting all my names, Sam Chapman for her daughter Sarah and her grandchildren Owen and Juliana and their pig Clover. How cute is that? So this little guy is sitting down and he has a nice round belly. This is going to end up being his body. So draw an oval about this big. See how mine is like big and then smaller? That's okay. Yours might end up being the same, and that's all right. In the long run, we'll pick our favorite line and we will trace over top of it. Let's add in our connecting triangle like I like to do. Up to the eye, just above the eye. Down to that oval we drew, let's draw that diagonal line of that triangle. Now you don't have to draw the insides, but just to give you an idea of where I'm getting that idea of the triangle, that's the triangular shape right there. You're welcome to just draw that line. If it helps you to draw the whole triangle, draw the whole triangle. And if at any point you feel like you need to rotate your paper to get your shapes in, please do. I would probably do that myself, but I would confuse you. My paper would be moving all over the place. So I'm trying to hold it nice and still. Let's draw in the back leg. This back leg is reminding me of when we drew the little fluffy puppy dog. If you haven't found that tutorial, scroll down the page and you will find a cute puppy dog that's sitting off to the side. This leg is a nice little oval that lives at the base of our body oval. It's going to end up giving us a hint of where that hip is. So where we've drawn that oval, let's darken this side just a little bit to give ourselves an indicator of what we're going to highlight when we trace. Off of that oval, let's add a rectangle. It's going to be tilted a little bit, just like this. You're adding in a rectangle. And off of that rectangle, we're going to add a little square here and then a rectangle here. Could also get that shape, I guess, by doing a long rectangle and then slicing it there. You could do that. That might be easier. Moving up our pig's body, I'm going to add in a circle right here to give me a spacer and make sure I've got that belly nice and big because our pig has a cute little belly. So let's draw a circle about that big. You're getting your whole arm going from your shoulder and you're going around and around and around and around, and you will eventually arrive at a really nice circle there. On the other side of that circle, let's draw an oval. This oval will be our shoulder for that front leg. This back leg you're not going to see, it's tucked up underneath them. Alright, so we've got our shoulder. Off that shoulder, we are going to add in another rectangle for that front leg, just like that. Now our legs are going to kind of line up almost. And off of that, we're going to do another rectangle, a littler one this time, and divide it, just like that. All right, let's add in a connecting triangle here. We're going to draw a nice little triangle right here. You can see these sides of the triangle are already there. So we're just adding in that diagonal line. And then on the other side, let's draw that back leg. We're going to go down the same angle of this front foot. We're going to put the back foot and a nice little triangle there. It's going to be just a little bit shorter because it's behind that front leg. So if it helps you, I do this a lot. Over this front foot, I drag my pencil down so I get the idea of the length, and I listen for how it sounds on the paper, and then I do the same on the back. Here's some little tips that I use. At the base of that back leg, let's add in that little sideways rectangle and our little divider, just like that. All right, we basically have the shape of a pig. Now, this little guy is one of the pigs. He's a baby, so he's still got like some fluffy little baby fur, baby hairs. I don't know what you call them on a pig. I need to be taught that. But this little guy has spots. So I'm going to add in a few little areas where I'm going to draw in some spots. Add in a few little random shapes on your guy where we're going to add in a few spots. I'm just making them random rounded shapes, just like this. You can do the same, or you can skip this part. If you don't want your pig to have spots, don't add in the spots. It doesn't need them. Okay, we are ready for our markers. So set down your pencil, grab your marker. I'm using a Sharpie. You can use any kind of marker you have, marker or a pen, just something that you cannot erase. And let's start up at the top of the head. Our little guy, the ears are going to be behind the head. So we're going to start at this top oval, and we're going to go around this top oval all the way over to this eye. So from one eye all the way over to the other. And I'm going to do just some simple little touch and flicks, just like we did it on the squirrel. I think we did this yesterday. I'm losing track of the days and what we did when. So you've done this technique with me before. It's just a simple, you've drawn the lines, you're touching your pen to that line, and you're just flicking it out. If you want to practice off to the side, you can do that. But it's going to be kind of just nice and loose because the pig's hair is just like little baby fluffy fur. Okay, let's go around the ears. We are going to go around the top of that, and then where it rounds, where we had that little tiny circle, we're going to go around that circle, down the triangle, and connect it to the head. Do the other one. We're going to go around the circle, onto the triangle, around that little circle, down the triangle, and back to the head. If this is stressing you out, take a deep breath. And let's go for the eyes. On this eye, we are going to go around the base of that eye You know what? I forgot our little highlights. Let's add in a circle for the highlight in the eye, just like that. All right, let's go around the eye and fill it in, leaving our highlight white, just like that. Same thing on the other side, just like that. Then we are going to add in that top arc. So I'm going over the line I've already drawn. You have already done all of the heavy lifting. So let's go from the corner of that eye over, tracing over the lines that you've already done. I'm going to add in a few flicks to give our little guy some sweet little eyelashes. You can do the same thing. And then around that base arc that we already drew, trace over that, just like that. You can see he's pretty cute. All right, where we've got this little top part of that circle above the eye, we're just going to add in a little hint of that with some little touches and flicks. And we're going to go around just a little bit of it. Same thing on the other side. I'm picking my favorite lines and I'm just adding in just a little detail there, touching and flicking around. All right, let's move on. From here, we are going to go from this eye around that face shape down onto our connecting triangle and around the body over to this leg. So let's do that now. We're just touching and flicking our marker as we go down the sides of those shapes. In front of that back leg, around that triangle, and then we're going to stop when we get to this leg. Let's add in this back leg. We're going to go down the triangle, around that first part of that square and stop. And we're going to cut in, go around that bottom rectangle, and back up, all the way up to the body, just like that. Let's do the same thing on this leg. We're going to go down around that rectangle, down to the hoof, around that front part of the hoof, cut in around the base part of that hoof. You're tracing over your favorite lines, and we're going to stop right about here. Then we're going to go up where our shoulder would be. This would be like our little pig's armpit. So we're going to add in from the armpit some little flicks of fur coming down to meet up with our leg, just like that. Now we're going to go around the belly. I'm going to pick a fatter spot on this circle here, and I'm going to go around that. So you decide how fat is your pig, and you trace around that line doing the touch and the flick technique. From here, where we drew the darker line over our hip oval here, we're going to start up there, doing that same touch and flick down to the leg. And when we get to the leg, I'm just going to ride right down that rectangle onto the square and over, go, cut back in and over, and then right back up that rectangle. I'm going to stop there because I want my fur to go a different direction, and I think it'll be easier from up here. We're going to draw from this triangle and then around this oval. So fur going the other direction now, touching and flicking it out, and I'm just following the lines that I've already drawn. Can you see your pig starting to come together? I bet he's looking pretty cute. Mine's looking pretty cute. Now the little tail is covered up by where he's sitting, so we're not going to add in the little tail. But we are going to go back to the face, and let's add in that nose, the super cute noses that pigs have. Where we drew our two ovals and that connecting triangle, we're going to just trace over those shapes, the outside edges of those shapes. And look at that, you've got a pig snout. Inside that snout, let's fill in those little ovals. My marker is so thick, it almost does those with one stroke. So yours might do the same. It might fill it in one stroke, and that's fine. Where we have that bigger oval, the base of that is going to be our little pig's mouth. I'm just going to add in a little bit here, darken it a little bit there, and a little bit there. So with that touch and flick, I'm pointing my fur down. And when I get under the nose, I'm just going to fill it in just a little bit and go over again on that side. Now we're going to give our pig some hints of a chin and a face shape. Pigs are chubby and they're so cute. Around the base of that circle there, I'm going to just give some little hints of some fur there. Up on that snout, same thing on this side of that oval. I'm just going to add in some hints of fur around the top. On the top, I'm going to touch and flick straight up, and then I'm going to round it over as I go around the face, just like that. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit further, like that. And then where we had this large oval, I'm going to add in some little hints of fur right here. I'm very curious now, is it called fur or hair? And do they lose it when they get bigger? Because I noticed when I was looking up pigs, some of them have it as they're bigger and some don't. So I need to learn some about pigs. Maybe that's what I'll do later today. Let's add in over here on this side, let's add in some fur, and we want it facing like toward the chin. So just a few little hints of fur right there. And then let's add in a few little hints of fur off of this oval, and they're going to face down toward the body. I'm going to make mine just a little bit longer, touching that line and flicking them down. The shape of that line helps define the shape of the body of the pig. Okay, we are on to some spots, and believe it or not, you are almost done. Let's do, if you're doing spots, I'm going to just do nice and loose. Where I had those shapes suggested, I'm just going to back and forth and back and forth. Fill them in nice and loose. They're not going to be super defined shapes. I'm using those guides that I had to help me know where to put them. And to fill them in, I'm planting my wrist and I'm just moving my marker with my fingers back and forth and back and forth. Now this is not going to be perfect. It's not meant to be perfect. So don't stress. Don't try to make it perfect. Just let it be something that you're doing. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Let it be something you're doing. I think we're all doing a lot of that these days. Back and forth over there. All right, we have a super cute pig. I am so proud of you. Let's set down our marker and grab our eraser. You can use the back end of your pencil, or you can use a white eraser or a pink eraser if you have one of those from school. I'm going to switch back to my guide because I drew this guy with eraser. I'm going to hold my paper down so it doesn't crinkle. Find a clean spot on my eraser and just start erasing. I hope you had fun drawing a pig with me today. Thank you, Chapmans, for the suggestion and sharing your picture of Clover with me. What an adorable pig. Oh my goodness. Lucky kids to have that cute little guy as their pet. And then keep erasing down the body. If you're looking for some other fun things to do today, you can find me online, RebeccaInc.com. I've got some downloadable coloring pages for you to do. I saw some people downloaded mermaids yesterday and mythical creatures. So I've got mermaids and all kinds of fun stuff up there. You can find me online, RebeccaInc.com. You can find me on Instagram at RebeccaIncabink. I'm going to have some time-lapse drawings later on today of an alpaca I'm working on. You can find me on Facebook, Rebecca Inc. Send me pictures of what you've drawn in the comments below. I can't wait to see them. You guys are doing so good. It's really fun to see what you've drawn. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for drawing with me. Stay home and stay safe. Bye.